Hello everyone, Xiaoling here and welcome back. In this video we're going to be taking a look at a game by the name of theHunter Call of the Wild, which I believe launches in spring of 2017. This version that I'm showing you guys is the closed beta. I was fortunate enough to get an invite to the game, and so I thought what I'd do is make a video, just sort of give you guys a rundown of how the game works, what it's about, and what my impressions of it are. But I do want to say though, if you're looking for an expert guide on a hunting game, this is probably not going to be it. I'm completely new to hunting games and in hunting in general. So yeah, this is more going to be sort of a beginner introduction to, people who may have some kind of an interest in this particular game. The other thing, as I mentioned, you can also see on the screen, this is a beta version of the game. So there are issues, there are features that are missing, storyline features, graphics, animations. There are some bugs and things that crop up, which I'll talk a little bit more about when we get into the game itself. You'll be happy to know that with this new version, it's going to be a one-time purchase. The game's going to cost $30. They do note that depending on what region you are, it might be slightly more, slightly less. And so with a one-time purchase, and there won't be any microtransactions in this particular title, which I think is actually great. But with that said, they said also that they do intend to support it with optional DLC packages. So that's going to be interesting to see what those are. So as I said, there are some features missing. The first thing I do want to state right now before I even start, when you go into settings over here, I am unable to change my mouse invert. Now I play with an inverted mouse. I know some of you obviously don't. Everyone has their preferences. But for me, not being able to invert my mouse makes the controls feel very clumsy. And so if I have some spaz aiming moments, you will know why. Obviously, this is just an issue with the beta. Obviously, they are going to add an invert mouse. Well, I would hope so. Also, with regard to key bindings, there you can see what all the keys are, but unfortunately, they can't be customized either. But outside of that, let's take a look at the graphic settings. You can see there are a fair amount of graphic settings to be had here. The game looks pretty good, quite honestly. But unfortunately, it doesn't run that well on my particular system. I'm running on high because that way I'm able to maintain above 60 FPS on my GTX 1070 with my i7 6700K. If I put it on ultra, the frame rate drops into the 50s and such, so I've decided just to keep it on high. So obviously there still need to be some optimization runs for this particular game, and hopefully they'll get that done before the game actually launches. Otherwise, you've got audio. The actual dialogue volume is quite loud, so let me turn that down. I'll leave subtitles on. There's not really that much story, honestly. You spend the majority of the time in the game walking, so see. And then of course you can have aim toggle on for those of you who don't like to hold the right mouse button. That's pretty much for all the options over here. You can create a character when you do start the game for the first time. There's multiplayer as well. You can choose between male and female, and there's basically 3 presets for each. Outside of that, there's no customization whatsoever for any of the characters. I don't know if that's going to be a DLC thing or if that's going to be a full game feature or whatnot. I think in a game like this, it would have been nice to be able to customize a character a little bit. Also, I'm recording with DxStory, so I've left the frame rate counter up in the top left hand corner. Well, actually I'm recording with Shadowplay. I'm recording the audio with DxStory, but that way you can get to see what the frame rate in the game is at high detail. Okay, so if we press M, we can pull up the map. You can see the area is relatively large. There are lots of different areas in here. The green icons are basically lookout towers, and we are over here. The game does have some kind of a tutorial, but it's very vague. It doesn't cover all of the details. I think it would have been nice. So you can see we have the map, we have the mission log. So you can see I've done 3 missions. I had to do a kill, I had to visit a lookout point, and I had to find an outpost, which I literally did 5 minutes ago. And the outpost is where I am now. That's this building over here. It allows you to sleep and pass time and also heal up your wounds. Although I haven't come across any dangerous animals yet, so, unless other players can shoot you in multiplayer, I have no idea. As I said, I haven't played one of these games before. So perhaps there's more dangerous animals like bears and things like that could maul you, possibly. You've got your cache over here where you can store all your stuff in the storage. So you can see there's a number of different rifles. You can see that they all obviously have different costs associated with them. From what I've read, certain guns are needed to kill certain types of prey, from what I can tell. Hunting with a shotgun, okay, fine by me. What I thought was pretty cool though is you can get bows as well. These bows look super complex. So that looks pretty cool indeed. Of course, bunch of rifle, got a bunch of handguns as well, different ammos for the various guns, and different sights that you can buy. I haven't actually bought any of this stuff yet. Before I spend the money, I probably want to find out what all this stuff is. Oh, oops. And then of course you've got the store where you can buy, and your own storage where you can store your own stuff. Then of course you've got skills. So as you do things in the game, you level up, you get skill points. You can see here I have 0 skill points available. You get perk points as well, which I'll talk about in a minute. Some of these aren't implemented in the beta yet apparently, but you'll get the idea. This has increased the number of times you can use your lure. Apparently it has a limited amount of charges. So these are different ways to spot and tag, things like that. Then of course you've got, okay, that's on passive. You've got active skills as well, which improve your tracking abilities. You can see there's a whole bunch of those. It takes a while to level up. You know, as you get these, you'll get better at tracking prey. I'm guessing prey is going to get harder and harder to track as you progress through the game. And then of course you've got perks, as I mentioned earlier. The holding your breath while firing, because that's something human beings can't do until they get more experience, is hold their breath. I got 1 point in here, like literally 5 minutes ago as I got to the outpost. So I took that, so hopefully that's going to make us more adequate at aiming and shooting stuff. You've got the codex as well. You can see my character here. As I said, you can't customize anything about the way they look except for essentially their race, I suppose. There are like 3 or 4 presets for both male and female variations, and that's about it. So as I said, the mouse is not inverted for me, so this is going to make things a little bit awkward, but not game breaking, not game breaking. I have put a few posts on the forums about it. I haven't had any replies yet. Okay, so in the bottom right you can see your compass. It shows you the direction of the wind. You can see the ear icon, shows you your noise level. The eye icon shows you visibility, and apparently the heart icon is not your health, but it is your heart rate. I'm not sure how that affects anything. That's not really well explained in the game either. And apparently this gives us challenges, but I don't believe this is implemented in the beta yet as well. So of course you can mouse wheel. You can see I can cycle between my gun. I can right click and zoom in. Now you can see there's a fair amount of sway. I'm not moving the mouse at all. I don't know how this, I think this guy's perhaps drunk or something. Don't think this amount of sway for zooming down the scope is quite normal. Not that I'm a expert with guns or firing. I did firing when I was still in school, but by no means was there this much sway when aiming down the sight. So I think they do need to tone down this a little bit. I've seen numerous complaints on the beta forums about the sway being a little bit too excessive, and I would have to agree. So now finally I can hold my breath, and you can see it stabilizes it for a shot. Okay, so for the majority of the game, oh sorry, I've also got to mention I have binoculars, so you can use this to look around. And then I've got my little deer caller. I'm not going to use it now since apparently it has charges. Okay, so we need to find a fallow deer. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you are going to spend a fair amount of time walking around in this game looking for stuff. There's an auto walk feature. If I press G, you can see my character is just going to walk. So then if I hold shift and look around, he's going to run. The amount of noise you make is based on, obviously, if you're sprinting or if you're walking. I can crouch as well. So, I'll move much slower, but I'll make far less noise. And of course, if I press Z, I will prone. And then I will make even less noise. You can also see that the grass gets pushed down, which I thought was a pretty cool feature. You know, so you can see here, if I go back, you can see all this grass is laid down. It'll eventually pop all back up, but you know, you can use this to track prey and things like that. Also, depending on what kind of vegetation you walk through, like going through here is going to be a little bit louder, or especially these dry bushes. If I find some dry bushes like this, you can see this is relatively loud. So where you walk, and even if you're crouching, it can make a fair amount of noise going through certain types of vegetation. Okay, so you can see here we've got our first indication of some prey. You can walk up to it. You can see here, oh, I've got a call over there as well. What is that? That's a roe deer. We're looking for a fallow deer, but we could hunt the roe deer anyway, just so I can show you guys. If I click on the footprints over here, if I can find them. Waiting for the thing. There we go, investigate tracks. You can see on our little tracker it shows us exactly which direction the footprints are going in. It even shows us in the game world which direction the footprints are going in, so we can essentially follow it, and then we need to find the next footprint. And you can see it's in blue, which means that's our current target. If it's in white, that is a different deer. How this guy knows that is beyond me. Again, I'm not a hunter, so I know very little about this stuff. Okay, so you can see the next one and just keep following that. So this game is very much about walking and following tracks until you get your prey, and then very, very slowly and quietly moving up your prey and getting a shot, so you can get some points, you can get a money reward, and you can get a trophy pick. Now I've upgraded my tracking by, I think it is 2 points, I think it was. Let's have a look. Sorry, this is locked. Yeah, I'm not trying to put points in it. Yeah, I've got 2 points, so I can increase the distance at which tracks are visible and highlighted. Okay. Can I get out of the screen? Yeah, this screen is a little bit finicky. Also, you can see at the bottom here, it's got back and forward in Xbox controller buttons. And my Xbox controller is not plugged in. I deliberately unplugged it. You can see these button prompts are still incorrect. So even when pressing escape, I can't get out of this. If I press this, how do I get out of it? Okay, I actually have to use the escape button several times. It's a little bit finicky. But yeah, beta will be beta, right? And I probably shouldn't be sprinting, but you know. Okay, oh, there we go. Let's head up to these this marker over here. See what we can find. You can see sometimes we get calls. It's a warning call, which means it's supposedly relatively close by. And here's me running like an elephant through the jungle. Gonna give our position away. Okay, that's a warning call, which means it's aware that we are nearby. Let's stick to the grass.
Keep track of where the wind is blowing. Animals will pick up your scent easily if they're downwind from you.
And the animal is downwind from me, so let's see if we can... Oh, there it is. There it is. Don't know if that's the right kind of deer, though. What do we have? Fellow deer. How do I take a picture of it?
I think you need to get a bit closer for a clearer picture.
Can I run? Surely you can't hear me from here. So I think the graphics for the game are pretty good. I definitely think the performance could be a bit better though. I'd say you need a lot of patience to play this game. You're going to do a lot of walking. It's not entirely a bad thing. It's not like I'm not enjoying this. Actually, I am quite enjoying it. It's relaxing. But I suppose as I get more used to it, you know, start to understand how the game mechanics work more, it'll become more enjoyable for sure. I know there are night and day cycles. I believe 12 hours of real time are going to be 24 hours in game. And there's different weather conditions, of course, as well. So with regard to shooting your targets and stuff, obviously if you get a better shot and it dies quickly, you get more points. Don't think you get any points for female animals. So I'm assuming there are going to be a fair amount of animal variations in the game. I know in the previous version there was quite a large list. And I would imagine also that certain animals are for sure going to be harder to hunt than others. And I'm curious as to what the dangerous animals are going to be. Wild boars maybe, bears, I guess. The predator. Nah, So as I said, yeah, there's a lot of walking. I'm going to have a lot of patience. Get a ton of XP for finding these outposts. And then apparently you can fast travel between them, which I think is going to be nice. These reserves are pretty big, and as you can see, traveling around, unless we just run back to the same outpost we were just at. We have! Oh my word, we just ran around in a circle. Good job, Sheldon, good job. So these items you find on the map, you get XP for building them, and then obviously you can use them as observation posts and whatnot. You can see here we've built a hunting structure. So if we hit enter here, a little loading screen, we get up on top. And yeah. Not sure these camo things hanging should be flapping as fast as they are, based on the amount of wind I see. But, you know, who knows. But while I'm here, the other issue, in the beta at least, is like you want to get out of this thing. You can see just by going in this direction, I can't see the exit sign. I have to be in a very specific place for it to show up. So hopefully they're going to tweak that as well. Can hear it on this way. Maybe just over this ridge. He must be pretty close if I can hear him. There it is. Get a picture.
I just received the picture. It's beautiful. Oh, I'm sure Gerlinda will love this.
Okay.
Everything you see now is part of the reserve, but the land itself is actually privately owned by the Sommer family. The current head of the family is Robert Sommer, and he's very supportive of the hunting reserve. Well, as long as it doesn't get in his way.
Come on, I thought we got him.
The Sommer family business has an agricultural arm, which include the grain and cornfields spread throughout half of the reserve. Unfortunately, fallow deer love corn, and they've dug into the Petershain fields recently. Sommer usually turns to Gerlinda to keep the fallows off his fields, but she's been bogged down with the book lately. If you feel like hunting some fallow deer in Petershain, Sommer will make it worth your while.
Do I want to hunt fallow deer in Petersheim? Man, I'm sure I hit this thing. Okay, there we go. Bleed rate very low. And this thing's gonna run forever now. Okay, so we got the picture for the quest. The next quest is asking us to go really up top of the map, which is really far away. So what I'm gonna try and do instead for the rest of this video is just try and hunt hunt something. See if we can get one kill, and then we can wrap up this particular video. But I think instead of you guys watching me just run for ages on end, I will be back as soon as I get within range to make a kill. I think that's probably best. I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so here we are. We found the deer. I'm going to hold the breath. See if we can get the shot off. See if we got it. Took 2 shots. We got him. Let's go see. Man, it took a long time to finally catch up with one of these guys. See what we got. I hit him twice. He was wounded after the first one. Sorry, buddy. So you can see here we get the cash reward now. It tells us the gender, the weight, the skin, tracking difficulty, hard, the trophy score, and then bonuses for our score, total score over here. The first one hit the flesh in the middle spine, 94%, and then the other 5% was nicking the left scapula. What I don't like about this particular screen is though that whenever I move my mouse around the screen, this thing rotates. It would have been better, I think, if you could right or left click to rotate this image around. I think the way they've done it now is a bit silly, honestly. And it would have been nice to be able to switch between your 2 shots. So my first shot was actually relatively accurate, but unfortunately it just doesn't show that. Alright, so then we got some points for that. So that's been a look at the Hunter, Call of the Wild. I don't think it's too bad if you enjoy a lot of walking. I know it is pretty much a niche type of game, this, but it wasn't not enjoyable. You know, I have had a good time with it. But as I said, my main concern now, as you can see by the frame rate, is that the performance, even on a top-end PC just about, is dropping to 55. I've seen it go down just below 50 at points, and this is not on maximum detail, this is on high detail. So that's something I hope they do sort out. Obviously along with the mouse invert, which I talked about at the beginning, and the ability to rebind keys. But otherwise, I think the game is quite fun. There's something intriguing about it that gets me to come back and play again. Yeah, so there's going to be some kind of progression. You can upgrade your character, you're going to get new equipment, you're going to get better at sneaking around, you'll get better outfits, I'm assuming. That'll be more camo based, like ghillie suit type of things, I guess. That'll help you not get spotted so easily. You'll be able to walk quieter, things like that. And yeah, rack up a bunch of different trophies. You can see what the codex here. Unfortunately, the codex doesn't show anything more than just your character. I think it would be nice to see your trophy logs and things like that. I don't know if they're going to have something like that in the game where you can see your trophy kills. But yeah, that's been a look at the Hunter, Call of the Wild. Otherwise, if you guys have any questions or comments, you can leave them in the section below. I've been Charling, and I'll see you guys next time.
Freedom Marshal, case 3 recovery, CV1 approach, expected final bearing 331,